Hello, friends. Welcome back to another educative content onto your channel, the health channel for the week. So today we'll be talking about heart attack. People have been looking onto this chapter for a long time, and it's a very big topic. But I would like to keep it short and simple so that it is more easier for you to understand and more easier for you to take part or take an active role in making your health better. So today, let me clarify first. I'm not talking about cardiac arrest. Rather, I'll be talking about heart attacks. So what exactly the difference is? Heart attack is more about the oxygen deprivation which happens to your muscles of your heart. It builds over time, and it basically is because of your irregular lifestyle and irregular eating or drinking habits. So on the other hand, cardiac arrest is basically the electrical malfunctioning of your heart, which is basically sudden in nature. So you can think it in this way that your heart is beating, it beats because of an electrical impulse, and this electrical impulses fails to do its work, and that leads to cardiac arrest. These electrical impulses are always functioning well, but there is no good supply of blood to your heart, and that is what we call as heart attack. So today we'll be more focusing on heart attack rather than cardiac arrest. So moving on to some of the facts which you need to know, there is a theory which is called as broken heart syndrome. Broken heart syndrome is nothing but you're feeling more kind of a depressed, you're feeling more low, and you're more negative. So when that happens, the constriction of your arteries happen, because of which there is low flow of blood. On the contrary, if you're very happy, if you're more bright and bubbly, and that can lead to a good increased amount of blood to your heart, and which makes your heart more strong and more compatible for its regular wear and tear. So any kind of an emotional outburst can also lead to heart attack, and that is the reason why emotion plays an important role. This emotion can also be found in your Monday morning when you don't want to go to work. When you want to go to work, it takes a lot of pressure for you to get out of your bed and start working. That's what is the lifestyle happening around you. So, if you think that Mondays are very bad, there was a research that was conducted which says that Monday morning there's an increased amount of cholesterol, there's an increased amount of cortisols. These stress cortisols can make your thinning of your so-called blood valves or blood circulation around your heart, and that reduces the heart functionality, and you can see that you can die because of this kind of a strain. So yes, so these are the few things which you need to know before you start off with the uh, heart attack, because heart and its way of functionality is nothing but it's in your hand. So there's one good chance, or there's one good hope, because of you sticking on to this channel for a long time and listening to various health providers and healthcare workers and also doctors who are efficiently telling you the importance of good heart. The amount of heart attack cases span the world has come down somewhere close to 30% on an average. So, food, good health, good mind is the reason why you should not feel much about your heart attack. So, if you take good food, if you take good health measures, you won't die of heart attack for sure. So, what are the symptoms? So first of all, I would like to tell that majority of my ideas of heart and majority of its implications comes from American Heart Association, which talks in depth about the ways to keep your body fit and fine for its necessity. And that is the reason why across my slides or across my presentation, you can see a lot of American Heart Association's way of handling your disease procedures. So having said that, what American Heart Association puts as a priority is one, you should feel a chest pain as soon as you start doing your work. Second is you feel a lightedness, you feel nauseatic, you feel vomiting. Third is you feel a little bit of pain in your neck, jaws, and your lower teeth of your gum. Fourth, you should have a shoulder pain. And fifth, you should have a shortness of breath. So, totally, these five factors is what we generally call as importance for you to tell you that these are the few things which is basically leading you to heart attack. So, even in as we look across the gender, we feel that or we see that women have better perception of heart attack. The reason why, probably because it again plays it on an emotional role. Women tend to be more susceptible. Women tend to be more sensitive, and that is the reason why women have seen a lot of changes in their body as they go in very close to the heart attack scenarios. Something like giddiness, something like dizziness, something like tiredness, which is not there usually, along with sweating. So these are the few things which women have noticed, which has not seen in men as such. But men look for more of physical ways of handling their body, something like pain, intensive pain on their back, on their chest, on their jaws, and all those places, along with a shortness of breath. So yes, according to understanding of researchers, women are more sensitive to pain, and women are more sensitive to feel the changes which happens in their body. That is the reason why we feel that women are better in handling many of the health crisis. So for any risk factor and any causes, the first and primary thing, as I said earlier, it's more about smoking, drinking, irregular lifestyle, stress, and also unhealthy foods which are high in saturated fat. So this fat is the reason, primary reason for you to have clogged blood. So as you can see, the corona artery or coronary artery, which is there on your heart, they get a little bit of thickened as you start eating a lot of unsaturated fatty acids. These fat gets deposited on the lining of your arteries, and once they start to increase more, that creates a plaque, and this, if it cracks, and that leads to clot. So basically, we are talking about how eating wrong food or wrong choices of food can actually impact your health. That is the reason why we always talk to you about eating fresh fruits, vegetables, low salt, low sugar, and also anything which is helping you to have a better health. So, what exactly is this fat? So, this fat is nothing but, as I said, unsaturated fatty acids, the fat which is basically, we call it as cholesterol, we call it as low density lipids or high density lipids or very low density lipids. So there's are the fat, three, four categories of fat. So of which we are more concerned about the cholesterol, we are concerned about the very low density lipids and low density lipids. Because of this low density, they do not get digested well in the body and they start flowing freely across in your heart or in your bloodstream. So especially these things is what we call as plaques. These plaques goes and settles as the arteries becomes narrowing and narrowing. So there is a major heart channel, something called as aorta. So this aorta, when it is a very, very thick one, it as it goes to the peripheral of your body, it becomes very thinner and minute because the endings of these arteries require very small. So this plaque can transfer or it can travel anywhere across your body. It can travel to your brain, causing to stroke. It can travel to your heart, causing to heart attack. And it can also travel to any of your legs and can lead to deep vein thrombosis. So this is technically, this plaque is, moving plaque is what we call as thrombus. So if it gets lodged in your heart, it cuts off the supply of blood to the other part of the heart. Let's say the heart is arteries to the muscles, there's a connection. So the arteries are blocked because of this plaque. The muscles doesn't get oxygen, that muscle doesn't get nutrition, that muscle doesn't get much of an adequate ways to get its functioning done. So this is what we call as ischemia. So this, if it gets into your brain, then we call it as stroke. If it is in your heart, we call it as myocardial infarct. So infarct is nothing but necrosis or death of the cell. So even if there is a death, there are chances that these arteries or the arterioles can create its own branches, which we call as anastomosis, and it can lead to better health. But this requires very much focused way of doing things. If the tissue is died, or if the tissue has not been regenerated, then that tissue can die, and that leads what we call as myocardial infarction. So the muscles don't pump adequately because there is no much oxygen or there is no much energy for the pumping mechanism to happen. That leads to its death ultimately. But what can you do? There are two things or the two ways to look at it. One is you being an observer, and one you being the person who is having the heart problem. So first thing first, if you are an observer, then first what we should do is CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So how do you try to get that person back to his conscious, or how to get back this person until unless he can pass the time for getting into the hospital. So the first thing is you need to ask him, you need to talk to him, you need to make sure that he's conscious enough, because the more conscious he is, the better his body functions, and the better you can elicit his response. Second is call the ambulance and make sure the ambulance is his way. So by the time the ambulance reaches you, there are two things which you need to do. One is check his breathing, and second is make sure that you are giving him passive massage. It's not the regular massage which you rub over the chest. It's about getting your both the hands together, clenching your both the fingers and the palmar surface, that is the palm and the wrist surface. Make sure that you push hard enough and somewhere about twice per second. And this has to be repeated for over a minimum of 2 to 3 times over a few period of time. So if you could do this as a CPR, then obviously you can make sure that you have a better way of handling him. So this is how you become an observer and try to change the things. Second is you are the person who's getting an heart attack. First, don't panic, because if you panic, then again the stress chemicals, that is cortisols, get increased in your system. Then that narrows everything up and that gives you a very bad symptom. So first thing is do not panic. Make sure that you sit comfortably first. Be aware of what exactly is happening. Elicit the pain. Take a few deep breaths. That's very, very important. This happens because the pain is very sharp, tipping pain, very much pressurized. You feel that you cannot do anything. Just calm yourself up. Make sure that you're aware that there is a pain. You try to tell yourself, try to suggest yourself that yes, you have done something mistaken and either had something bad or you did something bad. So once you do that, then slowly relax yourself up. Well, that's very important. Take a deeper breath in and slowly exhale out. It's not rapid breath. It's not this way. It's as slow as possible. Take inhalation and as slow as possible be exhaling. Do it for at least 3 to 4 minutes. Then you can see that you have a lot of subsided your heart pain. You can also subside your gastric pain. This is very much sure when it happens. A very quick way of taking breath will obviously hamper your heart. So make sure that you breathe very lightly and not rapidly. Make sure that the breath is more calm. Make sure that you are calm. So if you take these three in your accounts, then obviously you can have a better results. So basically, when we talk about treatment, I am not prejudiced enough to tell that all things are good in an alternative medicine. So this is the treatment which we need to focus on as soon as we have an attack. So first things first is pain management. Give something or take something which reduces the pain of your chest. So something like nitroprusides and nitrogen-based derivatives is given as a pain management during for your heart disease. Along with that, make sure that you don't let those thrombus there in the system. That is, the plaque is there in the system. So how to retrieve it? That is one thing. And second thing is that is the reason why we give statins. And second thing is make sure that the blood doesn't get clotted up. Because of no oxygenation and no movement, the blood thinks or the body thinks that there is some kind of an infection, there's some kind of a block which the platelets need to take over and make sure that the path is clear. In that process, obviously, there is a problem in how you deal with it. So that is the reason why we give you blood thinners. So these are the two medicines which we give internally. And what we can do as a practical method is very well people know today is called as angiogram. So stenting is what we call it. Research says that stenting is good if it is done less than 120 minutes after you had this heart attack. So if it is done anything above it, basically doesn't matter much. Basically, if it is more than 120 minutes, probably doctors would suggest you go to have a fibrinolysis to remove the fibrin strands and make sure that you connect differently. So angioplasty comes into the picture. So this is how you try to treat your body, and this is what we as a judgment, as a doctors, make it as a judgment. Alternatively, obviously, it is more important to prevent than to cure. So prevention is what we talk about. I guess I have been speaking about exercises and yoga, though American Heart Association, which recommends regular physical activity for adults, has a different way of tackling this. I, on the other hand, have made a video on the importance of yoga rather than exercises based on the same recommendations of American Heart Association. So you can check in the link above, which is coming there, and you can actually look at what exactly and how important exercises is and how important yoga is. So along with that, you need to focus on your nutrition, food, which is really very good for your body. Along with that, physical exercises is also aiming in making sure that you stay healthy. So, well, other thing which is very important is you being more social, you being more proactive, and you being more emotional to people around you. So as I said, emotions are very important to reduce your stresses. So if you become more socially socialized with your people around, you're more happy, and that gives you more way of helping your heart and not letting those cortisols rush in your system. So yes, this is a few things which you can do on the aspects of food. Everybody talks about the same thing. So you limit your unsaturated fats through cheese, through meat, and other non-vegetarian food. Instead, you can always shift to good fats which you get from oils, which is basically avocado, coconut, and ghee. Or even if you're non-vegetarian and you need to have a non-vegetarian diet in your food, then rather than going on to an animal only kind of a thing, which are based on land, you can go to sea animals. So fish is actually considered to be having a better source of good fat than the land animals. And also, we would like you to avoid many of the foods which are refined in nature, which are being more fortified with many kinds of products like that of chemicals, and also sweeteners to be avoided. So, if you can avoid these things and limit yourself to good, healthy food, then you will not worry about your heart health as such. But even it's very amazing to see that American Heart Association also talks about taking good foods in form of fresh fruits and vegetables. So make sure that, like I always keep saying you, one meal of your day should be only on the raw fruits and vegetables. Generally, if you ask me, the best time is to have it at the dinner. But if let's say you're not into it, probably you can try at least your lunch or at least your breakfast. But don't miss out any food. Food is a very important part of your system. So when you are having food, make sure that one of your meal is basically just raw fruits and vegetables. If you want to drink something, you can always drink soup or make some fresh juices. This is always good for your body in recognizing what exactly is good and what exactly is bad. So hope you understand these importance of food and make you prepare for your heart's health. Uh, Looking for the next time, probably we'll come with the same such topics, intriguing topics for you. Hope you have understood much better about your heart conditions, and see you next time in much more interesting ways in exploring our internal chemistry of the body. Till then, thank you.